Elden Ring is possibly one of the best games of all time, and when it was released in February of 2022, it took the world by storm, even going on to win Game of the Year. But it's been 2 years, or coming on 2 years now. Is the game still good? So obviously you start with your classic FromSoftware character creation. I decided for this playthrough to go with the a goober here. He's all green, and yeah, samurai class, things like that. And if you're wondering why I decided to make this video, it's because this game is just so darn good, and I've played it. This will be my 8th now. I'm almost done with this that you'll see in the video, and this game just pulls you in immediately. The breathtaking cutscene at the beginning that shows you this grand open world with hundreds of bosses and fearless enemies to fight, and limitless possibilities for how you want to play the game. My playthrough kind of started because I'd already played through the game 7 times. Started with a little rune farming and just going to fight Darwill, which the 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 enemies in this game all have some sort of, even though there's some repeats like in a lot of FromSoftware games, this game's scale and depth is just so different. Every boss has some sort of lore to it, like the one that I fought with Blythe. He is this, like, Blythe is a servant of Rena at the beginning of the game, who eventually becomes daughter Ronnie, the witch, and is the shadow of Blythe, which I'm not even going to go into. That's a different person's video to make. But today we're here to answer the question, is this game still good in 2024? Well, obviously, like I said, starting up the game, I did some rune farming and just naturally explored the world. You start out, you explore, you meet this guy who decides to call you Maidenless, because you are. I went and intimidated the horse guy at the beginning because I didn't feel like fighting him in this playthrough, as I already had in 2 prior. And then I went over, talked to this lady who also called me Maidenless. She bequeathed me with a horse who I rode around to rune farm, and then got abused by wolves. Got assaulted by a giant who for some reason can throw wind. Then I decided to go into the Mistwood ruins and heard some howling. Got attacked by a few bears, and then I went back to the merchant and talked to him about the howling in the Mistwood. And that's another thing that's great about this game. So many things are connected that you wouldn't even realize unless you started talking to people. So in order to feel fulfilled with this game, you have to talk to people and just continue to play through the game and beat bosses. And even as you progress further into the game, that never goes away. The mid-game is a little bit weaker, and but it's still just such an open, beautiful world that you can't help. And even though the graphics aren't up to date fully, and the game still is a little behind in terms of graphics, the art style makes up for it. This game is beautiful. Right from when you open that first door, which shows you the open world, right after you enter the game, it shows you this beautiful, the Erd tree, which you can actually go up to. I can't even explain to you how excited I was the first time. I was like, oh, it's just a dramatic set piece. I'm sure we'll get teleported there. But you walk there, basically. You go through this huge open world that I love so much. And this game has to be the best FromSoftware game to date. If you didn't know, FromSoftware has developed Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Sekiro, 1 and 3 of Dark Souls. They've developed a few other games as well. None have ever reached the scale of Elden Ring, as none of them have been as open as Elden Ring. None of them has had as many bosses. None of them has had this availability of combat. Though you could argue that Sekiro has more depth, it does not have as much variety. Elden Ring, you could be a samurai, you could have a giant hammer that you swing around and spin around in, you could be Sonic the Hedgehog, you could do so many things in this game. It's just endless. This availability and variety is what made Elden Ring so popular to begin with. It's why 12 million people bought this game in the first week. It's why it was streaming on Twitch and YouTube consistently for about 6 months. And this is why people to this day still make videos every day about Elden Ring. This is why there's whole lore videos, there's whole channels dedicated to Elden Ring and finding new ways to play. That's why people have hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game. There's so much variety, the bosses are fun and engaging, and even if they're repeats, they're just fun. The combat is fun. It keeps you engaged. The world is beautiful. The art style just absolutely gives this game justice. This game is the best FromSoftware game ever released in terms of this style. It's better, in my opinion, than the first three Dark Souls, and it's better than Demon Souls. Sekiro is close to this game, but it feels like there's such different types of games that I don't know if you can compare it. So, with that, is Elden Ring still good? Well, the plain answer is yes. Alright, bye-bye.